Good evening, everyone. Yesterday, we were sharing on wholeness and separation. Wholeness is holiness, adoration for God, spiritually pure, which means the mind has to return to its natural state of purity. So everything that distorts has to be healed. And healing is letting go of what you've made. You want nothing that you've made because it's not real. It's not of the light. Creation is whole, and the mark of wholeness is holiness. Nothing grows in shallow soil. So for us to even think like God is to share God's certainty of what you are. And the certain are perfectly calm, for they are not in doubt. And to create like God is to share the perfect love God shares with you. Creation is sharing. And we share the air, we share the light, we're here to share. And we can only share what we know we have. You're sharing of your abundance. And love is our abundance. And abundance is just ready to pour out through us. But we must be willing to remove our self-made ideas that are blocking the flow. You know, Mark Twain says, make your vocation your vacation. The word vocation comes from the Latin meaning I call. You want to think of your work as your calling. Listen to the silent command of the inner voice. Yes, our selfishness, our self-made ideas has driven us apart. We like to think our ideas are better than God's. We need to take responsibility for our lives and not be wrapped up in our illusions. And when you want your life to be different, when you want something more, you will change. Do you want to be in heaven? Heaven shows us where to go. Or do you want to be in hell? Hell makes extravagant demands on us. And heaven and hell are not geographical locations. They're states of consciousness. And heaven is here and now. And deep within you, each and every one of us, is everything that is perfect, just ready to radiate through you and out into the world. And this love that is our true essence will heal all pain and end all sorrow. It will cure all the sorrow and all the pain and fear and loss, because it will heal the mind. That thought, just an idea in the mind, that thought these things were real. And the Course teaches us sickness is not an accident. Like all defenses, it is an insane device for self-deception. We are deceived by the form. The Christ in you is your wholeness, holiness. And it's confident, secure, complete, unlimited, perfect, whole, and never in doubt. Your holiness is your eternal innocence. We have to be willing, and we have 365 lessons. We have to be willing to move closer to your holy heritage. Your holiness is your power, and nothing else is strong. We have to be willing to embrace your true essence, your wholeness, your holiness, and rely only on the holiness that is your true self, the unchanging, changeless, eternal, immortal self, forever and forever. And when we do so, you're really making yourself into a tycoon by realizing your holiness. And in so doing, you will forget about your problems, and you will think about your holiness, the wholeness that is you. You will no longer be torturing yourself. You will be accepting your holiness, and nothing else is real. So healing is necessary. What is healing? Letting go of what you've made. Healing is necessary in order for you to remember your holiness. And your letting go is your remembering. You cannot perceive your holiness while you perceive something else as more valuable. Lesson 133 in A Course in Miracles, I will not value what is valueless. When valueless ideas ceases to have value in my restless mind, then will I know my holiness and allow it to shine bright and clear. Your holiness is not dependent on anything external because it's not attached to form. Your holiness is perfectly aware of everything that is true. It is not deceived by the form. Form is always changing, but the essence of what you are is unchangeable. And the holiness that is you is always open to receive. It always sees clearly. So it's up to us to allow your holiness to decide all things for you by you claiming your holiness, which is your natural power. A Course in Miracles is sacred and holy. Holiness created us whole. Nothing is missing except our awareness of what is real. My mind is part of God's. I am very holy. What has eluded us is our sense of sacredness and holiness. You are a holy, whole, complete thought in the mind of God. My holy vision sees all things as pure. And holy is whole, adoration for God, devotion, spiritually pure. So you are the altar of God upon the earth. The altar of your mind is undefiled and free of blemish. It's not tarnished. It's not stained. It's clean, pure. So the responsibility is up to each and every one of us to purify the mind. I am responsible for what I see. I choose the feelings I experience, and I decide upon the goal I would achieve. And everything that seems to happen to me, I ask for and receive as I have asked. Ask for what already belongs to you. Your mind must be as pure as mine, the Course is teaching us, if you are to know what belongs to you. My mind is part of God's. I am very holy. Lesson 35. This idea does not describe the way you see yourself now. It does, however, describe what vision will show you. My holy vision sees all things as pure. You will believe that you're part of where you think you are. And that is because you surround yourself with the environment you want. And you want it to protect the image of yourself that you have made. You want nothing that you have made because it's not real. It's not of the light. And the Christ in you, that is your true self, the Christ child within us, is not a body. The Christ in you is your holiness. And there are only two purposes, sin and holiness. And which you choose will determine what you see. You want to see with eyes of holiness. You think with thought, you see with thought. We must be willing to let in the light, and you will look upon no obstacle to what God wills for you. Open your secrets to His kindly light and see how bright this light still shines in you. You can never suffer because the source of all joy goes with you wherever you go. You can never be alone because God, the source of all life, goes with you wherever you go. There is nowhere, no place you can be where God isn't. Nothing can destroy your peace of mind because God goes with you wherever you go. And the Course is teaching us the mind that sees illusions thinks that they are real. They have existence in that they are thoughts, and yet they are not real. Because the mind that thinks these thoughts is separate from God. So let our interfering thoughts be laid aside, not separately, but all of them as one. They're all the same. Perception is a part of what it is your purpose to behold. For means and end are never separate. And so you learn what seemed to have a life apart has none. We are not separate from our true essence. We only think we are. And since you believe that you're separate, heaven presents itself to you as separate. Are we willing to lift the veil that seems to keep us separate and apart? Sickness and separation must be healed by love. There's no other way. By love and union. And only by assigning to the mind the properties of the body does separation seem to be possible. And it is the mind that seems to be fragmented and private and alone. It's guilt which keeps it separate. Is projected to the body, which suffers and dies because it is attacked to hold the separation in the mind and let it not know its true identity. And then we see ourselves locked in a separate prison, removed and unreachable, incapable of reaching out as being reached. And you hate this prison you have made and would destroy it. But you would not escape from it, leaving it unharmed without your guilt upon it. And this thing you made to serve your guilt stands between you and the minds. The minds are joined, but you do not identify with them. You cannot put a barrier around yourself because God placed none between himself and you. You are surrounded only by God. What limits us? What limits can there be on you, whom God encompasses? Thy will be done, not my will be done. Thy will is unity. My will is separation. We're all the same. Only the form is different. What is the same cannot be different. And what is one cannot have separate parts. So, your true self, your holy nature, is immortal and changeless, forever and forever. You believe that your identity is something impermanent and vulnerable, when in fact, your holy nature is not just powerful, but invulnerable, eternal, and joyful, waiting for you to discover it. The truth of what you are is not of time. Time is the great illusion. What you are is of eternity. So freedom from time will bring you everything your heart has ever desired. But the separated self does not want you to see this. The false self you identify with is terrified of the timeless moment. And because you're identified with the mind, you are terrified of it too. Release, that we may grow in tolerance, wisdom, and strength. Release your mind from the prison it's in and choose to know your holiness so you can celebrate what you are. How do we do this? You wake up from the dream of pretending that life is outside. You take responsibility for the gift of life that has been given to you. You're willing to see differently. So are we ready to risk everything to see something else that's fresh, new, alive, beautiful, waiting for you behind your self-made ideas, your old beliefs and assumptions, and choose to know your holiness? How do we do this? By ending the division. By ending the distortion in the mind that life is outside of us and the externals are going to do it for us. The externals are not going to do it for us because it's based on man-made rules and ideas, which has kept us in a prison, locked and without a key. We all know how a divided mind is so full of conflict, confusion, and despair and can tear us apart. An undivided mind is focused, attentive, and loyal, and devoted. And devotion is the constant reminder that God is the doer, the doing, and the deed. Are we willing to go within, go into the silence within, and discover that there is only wholeness and holiness? And this awareness is the beginning and ending of all your work, because it's the answer to every question that has ever been asked or will ever be asked. To know your true self, all it takes is willingness to enter the holy instant. And the holy instant is God's appeal to us to recognize what has been given to us. We already have it. If it's in one, it's in all. Don't even think that you can understand the whole from bits of your perception. We have to release our judgments because you want to see differently. And when we are honest with ourselves and take this one step, the next 1,000 steps will be taken for us. Because your natural state is one of holiness. It's what you truly are. You cannot be anything else other than what you already are. We can wish for the impossible, or you can think like God. Your mind can wish to be deceived, but you cannot make it be what it is not. Your mind is holy, and it is one with God. We just think that we're imperfect and separate, when in fact, nothing is missing but the perception that you are perfect, whole, and complete. And so this constant activity going on within the mind deludes us into believing that we're separate from our true essence. Shut the door of the senses. Put the intellect to sleep. Quiet your busy thoughts so you can feel the stillness. Stillness is among the natural attributes of your mind. Perhaps you've lost the awareness of it. Many of us have. My mind is part of God's. I am very holy. You are a holy thought in the mind of God. Holy is adoration for God, devotion, spiritually pure. You are the altar of God upon the earth. And earth means everything in the physical. My life, my work, my business, my affairs, everything comes under the heading of earth. So your mind must be purified. Purification is necessary. Your mind must be as pure as mind if you are to know what belongs to you. My mind is part of God's. I am very holy. And this idea does not describe the way you see yourself now, but it does describe what vision will show you. We have to be willing to see differently, to think differently, and to live differently. I walk with God in perfect holiness. I like the world. I like my mind and all the minds which God created as myself. And there is nothing my holiness cannot do. My mind is part of God's. I am very holy. And again, holy is whole, adoration for God, spiritually pure. And your mind must be made pure if you're to know what belongs to you. Learning is useless in the presence of your Creator. You will believe that you're part of where you think you are. That's because you surround yourself with the environment you want. And you want it to protect the image of yourself that you have made. The voice of A Course in Miracles states, your mind must be as pure as mind if you're to know what belongs to you. Because holiness created you whole. Are we willing to bring order and righteous living to your life? Order is perfection. It's creator on all levels. And the more solid you are on the inside, the less the externals will affect you. And when you recognize the truth of what you are, your wholeness, your holiness, your divinity, you do not seek for limitation. You want nothing that is of the flesh. You're not out to get, only to give. And light offers everything. You become the anointed one. You anoint yourself by knowing yourself. There is no other, only you. And your life is dedicated to service and sharing. That's why we're here. We're all here to face our dysfunction and transmute it through the power of love. Wake up from the dream of pretending life is outside of us. Relax your mind. You're entering into life. Say to yourself quietly and thoughtfully, my holy vision sees all things as pure, that I may pass them by in innocence. My holy vision sees all things as pure, that I may pass them by in innocence. I see with eyes of holiness. I see with eyes of holiness. Holiness created me whole. Holiness created me whole. I am perfect, whole, and complete. I am perfect, whole, and complete. I rest in eternal holiness. I rest in eternal holiness. I am sacredness and holiness. I am sacredness and holiness. My holiness is unchangeable. My holiness is unchangeable. Be as simple as you can be. Close your eyes a while and review any unresolved questions that are causing you concern, any unsettled situation that may be causing you discomfort. Discomfort arises to bring the need for correction into awareness. With eyes closed, tell yourself silently and thoughtfully, with fixed determination, I am willing to exchange my pitiful illusions and awaken to my real thoughts. I am willing to exchange my pitiful illusions and awaken to my real thoughts. Today, I will not judge nothing that occurs. Today, I will not judge nothing that occurs. My mind is part of God's. I am very holy. My mind is part of God's. I am very holy. My holiness is my salvation. My holiness is my salvation. My holiness envelops everything I see. My holiness envelops everything I see. Open to your divinity and assume your rightful place as a co-creator in the vast ocean of life now. You are here to participate in the divine dance of life. Release your attachments in a very graceful and surgical manner. Loosen your grip. You're not alone. You're letting go of your limited concepts and allowing them to melt away. Tell yourself, my holiness blesses the world, everyone, and everything in it. My holiness blesses the world, everyone, and everything in it. My holiness shines bright and clear. My holiness shines bright and clear. I see only light. I see only light. I belong to the light. I belong to the light. You are opening to your immaculate concepts. You're being endowed with life, understanding, and love. Do not obstruct this living energy with fears and doubts, but allow it to flow over you like a blanket of protection. Bring into you all good things needed for your progress. Allow it to express freely through you as you are lifted up to a state of divine awareness. Tell yourself, today I will judge nothing that occurs. Today, I will judge nothing that occurs. My holy vision sees all things as pure. My holy vision sees all things as pure. God goes with me wherever I go. God goes with me wherever I go. I walk with God in perfect holiness. I walk with God in perfect holiness. Breathe the holy breath of life and feel your light body. All the pain and suffering you have absorbed is being released. You are a very powerful and divine being. You're remembering now the truth of what you are, your holiness. Feel your inner strength and a sense of calmness so deep and certain that no thoughts of fear can enter your mind. You are in paradise now. There must be a cleansing for a wound to heal. You're allowing the light to soothe your forehead. In selfless devotion to yourself, tell yourself with eyes closed, silently and thoughtfully, eternal holiness abides in me. Eternal holiness abides in me. I rest in the sacredness and holiness that is my true essence. I rest in the sacredness and holiness that is my true essence. Humility is knowing your holiness. Open your mind to the flow of light. Do not interfere. Tell yourself with eyes closed, I am receiving now. I am receiving now. Do not interfere. Waves of light are coming in. Open your mind to receive. There is a message waiting for you. Be confident you will receive it. Close your eyes and tell yourself, eternal holiness abides in me. Eternal holiness abides in me. I rest in holiness, quiet and unafraid. I rest in holiness, quiet and unafraid. I allow my holiness to be my pain reliever. I allow my holiness to be my pain reliever. May the opalescent flame hold all in balance as you move into your natural state of holiness. Your only enemy is yourself. Feel your freedom in the light. Relax your mind, and what is yours will come to you. With eyes closed, tell yourself, I am indestructible consciousness. I am indestructible consciousness. There is nothing my holiness cannot do. There is nothing my holiness cannot do. I choose to live in the city of love. I choose to live in the city of love. I am the light of the world. I am the light of the world. Visualize a circle of light and place yourself in the center, knowing that you can draw from this light whatever is necessary for your well-being. There's much for you to experience. Simply allow all pressure, concerns, affliction, doubt, insecurities are dissolved from your mind. You are embraced in oneness. You are free in the consciousness of love. Your soul is absorbed in infinite love. You are filled with reverence and admiration. You're breathing in light through the center of your heart. You're lost in the awareness of your true identity. In selfless devotion to yourself, tell yourself, I am seeking my stability in the light. I am seeking my stability in the light. My holy vision sees all things as pure, that I may pass them by in innocence. My holy vision sees all things as pure, that I may pass them by in innocence. I see with eyes of holiness. I see with eyes of holiness. My holiness is unchangeable. My holiness is unchangeable. You are free and humble in the recognition that you are one self, united with your holiness. There is a message waiting for you. Be confident you will receive it. There is someone standing by with arms outstretched to wipe away your tears and turn all of your heaviness into joy. Close your eyes and listen in the silence where the language is unspoken yet understood. Be still and feel your light body. Tell yourself, I rest in holiness, quiet and unafraid. I rest in holiness, quiet and unafraid. I am indestructible consciousness. I am indestructible consciousness. Wait in silent expectancy as you listen to the trumpet of awakening that sounds around the world. Look with open eyes and discover your holiness. Your holy vision sees all things as pure. See if there is someone you have yet to forgive. Someone who seems to annoy you or cause regret in you. You know the one. Try to see a spark of light in them. Set them free. And in so doing, you are set free. Feel a sense of release. Take in the holy breath. You do have the holy stamp of immortality upon you. Free your mind and remember your holiness shines bright and clear. realize that you are pure, whole, and free. You are releasing all threads of fantasy and bringing the dew of freshness to every day. As you rest in the awareness of your holy heritage, your holiness will never forsake you. Be glad that you're not alone. Take a moment and reflect as you take in the holy breath. And say to yourself silently and confidently, I release in humility and trust. I release in humility and trust. I am aware of the wholeness that is my holiness. For this, I am grateful. I am aware of the wholeness that is my holiness. For this, I am grateful. I rest in eternal holiness. I rest in eternal holiness. I accept my eternal holiness. I accept my eternal holiness. My holy vision sees all things as pure. My holy vision sees all things as pure. There is nothing my holiness cannot do. There is nothing my holiness cannot do. My holiness is the doer, the doing, and the deed. My holiness is the doer, the doing, and the deed. I accept my eternal holiness. I accept my eternal holiness. The divine light is upon us all, and we are purified, grateful, and blessed. For this we give thanks. Rest in your eternal holiness now. Love you all. Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you, Veronica. God bless you, and I appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
Love you too,
Thank
honey.
you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye. Good evening, everyone. Yesterday, we were sharing